don't know what I'm going to do for the next, like, 6 to 8 weeks. There's no football. Well, there's no Championship anyway, but there's still Premier League until... Well, technically there's the playoffs to watch, but who gives a fuck? We're not involved. Anyways, welcome back to Matchday Report, people. Very sad to say, the final one of the season, and the final one until probably August / September. Very long time away, so yeah. Pretty sad to be doing this, to be fair, because it's been an absolute blast doing these Matchday Reports. I've been loving it, and the audience that's been growing throughout this past season of doing P&E content has been incredible. The growth has been fantastic, and the support has been equally as much, so thank you all so much for that. I appreciate it a lot. But if you're going to be wondering where I'm going before we get on with the video, I'm going nowhere. Of course, we have other shows hosted on this channel, such as Transfer Talk and Supporters Discuss. And naturally, with the end of the season, just like I did with the mid-season, we're going to be having a Supporters Discuss, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We're also going to be doing some transfer talk regarding our contracts, regarding players we're going to be bringing in, players that might be leaving, and all these other types of things, you know, speculation on transfers. Of course, any new news regarding the kits will be talked about, any news regarding new players will be talked about, and, you know, what they can bring to us. All that lovely stuff. So in other words, I ain't going anywhere. There's going to be a plethora of content between now and next season, as well as pre-season discussions, so don't you worry about it. Things are going to be running smoothly, and I'm not going to disappear for 3 months, even though some of you lot might want that, because I am not a popular figure on Twitter right now. But anyways, let's talk about the match, shall we? Enough of my rambling, let's talk about what actually happened yesterday. So, the first half saw both sides battle a little bit, but North End arguably looking the stronger for the majority of the half, despite Sunderland putting us under some good pressure. The second half looked to be off to a good start for us, but Sunderland soon showed us why they're playoff contenders and played a solid 30 minutes of football, slotting 3 past us within the space of 10 minutes. And that was addressed by Ryan Lowe in his post-match conference, which we will go over, of course, saying that it's just the manner of how fast we do concede when we concede like that. So it is unfortunate, but like I say, it is what it is. But regardless, of course, we had 10 shots, 2 on target, which is a shame. There were some massive chances that went begging in this game, including one from Delap. I think it was in the first half, which you watch him miss that and you go, Jesus Christ, how's he missed that? But then again, it happens to quite a few players. It happened to Fernandez and a few other players in the Man United versus West Ham game. They missed an identical shot twice, actually. But again, like I said, it's not good for the players. You know, it's going to fuck with his head, but you know, what can you do? We have games like that, and games like that we have, so yeah. But regardless, Sunderland were absolutely unplayable on the day in the second half anyway. It's just shot after shot. The possession were brilliant, the passes were brilliant. You know, you look at the pass accuracy, they were fantastic. They showed us why they are worthy for the playoffs, and that really pisses me off because they've only just come up. But at least them winning meant Blackburn can't go up. And Blackburn did end up beating Millwall, so Sunderland was basically guaranteed the playoff. So, you know, all the respect in the world, fair play to them. And their following was also fantastic, so you all did great and you all deserve the playoffs, I'll be honest with you. But it does remind me that back in like June, July-ish, when these fixtures for this season actually got announced, my grandfather actually told us, so he was talking to us about the fixtures, and he went, what do you want to bet? Because Alex Neil was the manager at the time of Sunderland. He went, what do you want to bet? That Sunderland are going to come to Deepdale on the last day of the season, and they're going to absolutely dick us and get the playoffs. He was right, but the only thing that he wasn't right about was obviously Alex Neil. He said the only reason that'll happen is because it's Alex Neil, but that's the only thing that he was like, we're about. But if they get promoted, then hats off to him, because he's made a very good prediction. And speaking of predictions, I will be going over what I predicted at the start of the season, if anyone remembers that video. I'm going to be watching it back, and we're going to be seeing what I predicted, so that'll be an interesting one. Anyways, Woodman a 7. Literally could do about any of the goals, which are all high quality finishes. 3 top saves over the piece to deny Roberts, Geldart and Ekwa, I think that's how you say those names. Story of 5, picked up a booking inside the first 5, and Sunderland's attackers ran right in the second half after being well contained. Bauer a 5, must take responsibility for the second half defensive capitulation. I'm so bad with words. As the man of the heart being his back 3, Sunderland upped it and tore North End apart. Lindsay a 5, like the rest of the back 3, handled Sunderland relatively well in the first but fell apart in the second. Potts a 5, had to get the better of Jack Clark for around an hour, but the floodgates opened after Sunderland's first, looked massively frustrated in the closing stages. Ledo a 5, captained the team and played alongside McCann in the midfield. Huffed and puffed but lost the battle. As a captain, I don't think he did terribly. In all fairness, I think he did okay for as it was for the job. But you can tell that he was getting a bit frustrated and playing those autistic passes like he always does. But against Leadson, what do you expect? McCann 5 kept running the hard yards until the end, did okay in the first, but it ended up being a tough day. Struggled defensively, couldn't bring any control. Fernandez a 6, one of Peony's few threats on the day. Final pass eluded him at times, a breath of fresh air all season, and will be sadly missed. Pirate a 6, midway after the opening goal, operating in behind. The front two was busy in the number 10 role, will not be missed by most. And I noticed he had a bit of an attitude problem in this game and over the last few games. Fair enough, he's getting frustrated, but taking the frustration out on the other lads, it's not really on, to be honest. But again, I don't blame him. Cannon a 5, couple of moments in the first half, but quiet in the afternoon. Left isolated in the second. Delat played under 70 minutes, sent a massive chance wide in the first half. And substitutes Onoma 5 couldn't really get himself in the game after replacing. Pirate got hold of the ball a couple of times but left chasing shadows. And Woodburn a 5, similar to Onoma, brought on with 20 minutes to go but didn't see much of the ball. And when I say I didn't see much of the ball, I think he had like 11 touches, 3 passes, and it was something like that he did not have many touches at all. And I'm seeing loads of rumours around Twitter at the minute that he's signed a new deal. Of course, this could be a wind-up because no one wants him to stay, but if he has signed a new deal, then I don't expect anyone to be happy about that, apart from Ben. But anyways, Ryan Law's reaction. First off, we were very good. Some good football, and we had some good chances to go in 1-0 to be fair. Second half, they showed us respect, changed shape to match us up. First goal is scruffy on our behalf. Diallo has that quality, which he definitely does. Which we had to keep quiet in the first half along with Clark and Roberts. Which I'm frustrated about is that when we concede quickly, like I said earlier. We've done that in the last couple of weeks. We've given it a good go. It's not been today or Sheffield or even Swansea that cost us. It's 6 points that could have come from other games early in the season, like the start of the season, for example. It's slow progress, but we want to go one better, and we'll use it as our motivation. This point in part is, I said, about mentality. I don't mean not giving everything or attitude. It's being savvy after you concede, not to concede again. And he's right there. We just like fall on the floor and give up. These are the things that we need to get better at. We played 3 strikers today to have a right good go, and we fell short. It's points which get you where you want to get to, and we've fallen 6 short. Troy's just said there are clubs like us that need... Oh, Tony, fucking Troy. Tony's just said the clubs like us that need to keep doing the right things and building a philosophy-style identity. I think we're going in the right direction, but we probably just need a bit of extra to take us up, and what he means is money. Peony Chief, Daniel Johnson, who joined club captain Alan Brown on the sidelines, along with Evans, Cunningham, Reese, Whiteman and Brady. That's a lot of injuries. Johnson is one handful of players out of contract this summer, and Law will speak to his number 10 on the Tuesday, which is today. He pulled his thigh on Friday, he went for a scan Saturday, and he had a grade 1 in there, so obviously gutted, but we're not going to risk him. Law added, all the players are in with me tomorrow from 8 o'clock onwards. We've got meetings, so there will be offers, some released and whatnot, all of Sunday. We'll probably know a bit more towards the middle of the week, so of course, as soon as we know about some releases and some extensions, there'll be a video released regarding that as fast as possible. But for now, that is rough. That is about it, really. I saw people saying, like, throughout the game, Johnson sat on the sidelines, or even during the post-match ceremony they had the player awards. He didn't seem to have much of an attitude or say wave his goodbyes or anything like that. There was no testimonial type thing. But that's obviously because it's not decided if he's staying or going, and even he doesn't know that himself. So, and if he does know that, then of course it's a little bit arrogant from him, but you've got to show the professionalism and a little bit of discretion until it's announced. But anyways, 2 more things I want to go over is Cannon's tweet saying that he wants to say a massive thank you to everyone involved. It's been a pleasure, which of course is fantastic. It's been a pleasure to host him. But this is essentially, in a nutshell, him saying he's not coming back. As far as I'm aware, that's what it sounds like to me anyway. But like they say, never fall in love with a lone player, for example. You don't fall in love with a lone player, but it always happens, and it's Cameron Archer all over again. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And again, another one, Alvaro on Instagram stories. Someone put a note on his car, don't leave Alvy, and a heartbreak at Deepdale Stadium. And it is a massive, massive shame. If there's anyone I'm going to miss more, it will be Alvaro. We've been chanting his name all season, unlike with Cannon's. And even though Cannon has helped us stay in that race, Alvaro's influence has just been fantastic. I'm gutted that he didn't score, because I have seen he can score goals, and he's just not been able to get there this season in terms of doing that for us, but I wish him all the best. If there's anyone out of the two of them that deserve to come back more, it's Alvaro. I think Alvaro needs a bit more experience before he can go on and play in Prem, but I do think he won't play for the Prem. He will go on loan to a foreign country or something like that for this season. Well, the upcoming season, sorry. And with Cannon, if Everton go down, he's 100% staying with Everton. And even if they don't go down, I can see him staying with Everton, to be honest. It saves them buying a new striker in, so yeah, that's it really. It basically confirmed that these two are off, which is a big shame because, like I said, if there's any two players that have done fantastically for us and deserve all the praise, it's these guys. So, but yeah, it is what it is. And of course, right now as well, there are no things to discuss regarding contracts, so I'm going to not discuss that until we actually get official word. I like to speculate, but I don't want to, spread false information. Despite like there's going to be like 20 people watching this, I'm not bothered. It's just the matter of fact you spreading false information. I don't want to be doing that. But yeah, like I said, be sure to keep an eye out for anything that's upcoming, which includes new player talks, as well as our players' contracts in terms of if they're going to stay or leave, loanees and stuff like that, and everything that's getting penned, etc. But one thing I will bring up really quickly before we go on to just finish this video off is that Ryan Law has actually hinted that they've already got a deal going with someone. He said, "We're on with loads of players. I was going to meet a player last week, and that's what we have to go do now. His agent came to watch us versus Sunderland, and I am hopeful." And well, if he watched us versus Sunderland, I'm fucking not. But anyways, talks went well. He's watched us a few times on the telly, and he's a handful. So hopefully we can put a deal together. Him saying he's a handful could be hinting at an experienced player or an upcoming one. But like you say, Ryan Law's biggest strength is his mouth. He's a great salesman. So that could just be him trying to sell us this player. He probably said the same thing about Ben Woodburn, but look at that fucker. The planning has already started to an extent, but we want players who have seen us. We've got to be a little bit better, and if we can get in certain areas to help players as well, then we'll be a lot better for it. That's got to be our aim next season, to go one better. I am sound, I'm in a good spot, frustrated like everyone else and ambitious, but the conversations that we are having now are positive for us to improve next season. Yeah, there's a bit out there. Law said last week, there's a few that will demand a lot more money than they are worth, and that's fine. They try it on and ask for big numbers, but the numbers always come down. We want players who come to represent Preston North and then play for myself and the staff to help us get to where we want to go. If it's going to be about who can pay them the biggest wage, then we are out. It's as simple as that, because we can't afford it. We have a wage structure that we have to stick to, even though we can't afford it. But I want people who are hungry and we want to come and play for the football club rather than just picking up their wages that we can't afford. Sorry, Mike. This is a big problem with this discussion regarding players. Of course, players these days and the talent will follow the bag. That's what football is all about these days. It's about the fucking money. But the thing is, even if it's a genuine quality player that we do need and we can't afford to pay them what they think they're worth, we're going to lose out on that player. Like with Cameron Archer, Villa want 20 million for him to stay at Middlesbrough. A sum that I'm not positive, but I'm almost certain that they will pull out of their assholes if they go up. They might even do it if they stay down, to be fair, but most definitely if they're going up. So yeah, we just can't afford it. And with our wage structure, even though we have a structure, we're paying players like Ola Sunday big bag, which we'll probably learn from, hopefully. But then we've also got other players that are just taking high wage. Obviously, Woodman's one of our highest paid players. Brown's one of our highest paid players. Johnson as well. Whiteman. Obviously, these are all for good reasons. These are top quality players and loyal players. But the difference is when you've got other players that are nicking a wage that they definitely are not worth, that's when it gets difficult. I want to see if I can actually find a wage list. Right, I don't know how reliable this is, but let's have a look, shall we? So, our highest paid player is apparently Johnson on 19k a week, and then followed by Alan Brown on the same. But obviously, these two are club legends. Well, I say legends. I say very well-respected figures in the club at this point. Alan Brown on Woodman on just a grand less, and of course, I can respect that. He's a very, very good player for us. But Parrott's on 17k a week, and he's not exactly been influential. Fair enough, we've only had him for a season, but this is where we need to be careful. Even though we can bring in these players and we can coach them to be this and we can coach them to be that, it's whether or not they take this or that. That's what I'm saying. Players like Archer and Cannon have absolutely loved the opportunity and they've swam in it. They've been fantastic for us. But then when you've got other players like Parrott and Delap who don't do much, that's when you start to argue, what the fuck are we doing paying them this much money? Or then you've got Reese, who's on 14k a week. And fair enough, he did brilliantly in the 21-22 campaign for us, but this season he's been out of it, and that's not his fault. McCann 13k, I'd probably say he's worth what Reese is worth, maybe a bit more, but again, that's for that conversation. But then you've got useless bastards like Ben Woodburn, who's been our worst player all campaign, and he's nicking 13k a week off us, 676k a year. You know, we could have bought someone much better than that, but of course he's a free agent. That's why we took him, because there's no transfer fee. You take the free agent, you pen him good money because he's this Liverpool wonder kid who's fantastic and he can play all these positions. The best thing you can do is come on off the bench and give away a foul, a free kick, a yellow card and concede a goal. He had one good game and that were against Blackburn. I really do not... He's not worth this at all. He should not be playing in this league. Cunningham, again, I can understand. He's been with us a while. He's very good at what he does. Lindsay signed a new deal, so that might be what he's worth now. And I think he has been fantastic, but at the same time, he has fallen off a little bit. Bauer, of course, we all know. Whiteman's worth way more. Potts, that's about right. Brady, again, I'd say maybe about right. Maguire's still on this list. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, but I don't know if we're paying him off. Hughes, Diaby story, all these names. But Olasunde nicking almost $6,000 a week off us for nothing. He's never featured this campaign. The only time I've ever seen him is outside in like Central League, and then the only time he's actually played for us in League, as far as I'm aware, that I've seen with my eyes, was Blackburn away last season, and he was dire. Of course, he got Ledson with these numbers. Ched worth far more. He deserves far more after this campaign, but again, it could be a one-off. Fernandez only on 4k. It's ridiculous. He should be worth what fucking Woodburn's worth. Well, that might be an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. And obviously, you've got all the young ones here that are worth nowhere near as much, but again, it is what it is. And you can't shout the keeper because, again, he's a reserve keeper. But that's what I'm trying to say. You've got players like this piece of shit who shouldn't be on this much money, and they get this much money. That's why I'm concerned regarding the wage bill, because if he's bringing in another Ben Woodburn type player that's going to do fuck all for us, I'm concerned. But anyways, let's move on before I start getting a bit too angry. So the points to make that is that we finished the season with fewer points and a worse goal difference despite being closer to the playoffs. And I think we finished a point less, and I think about 8 goals worse off this season, I think it was, off the top of my head. Which, obviously, it sounds like a backward step, but then when you look at the league this season, obviously we were closer to the playoffs technically, which you can see as progress, but the league this season has been so dicky and weird and shit that it allows us to do that. Of course, like I said, everyone in this league this season has been so inconsistent that it's allowed us to be in this position. Let's say next season teams play like they should be playing and they're consistent all season. We are not finishing in the top half, not a fucking chance. We'll be fighting for relegation, and that's the concern. But like Ryan Law says, you can't work off miracles. So I really hope when he does have this sit down with Craig and Peter that things actually go well. But anyways, the teams for the playoffs have now been confirmed as Luton, Middlesbrough, Coventry and Sunderland, so congratulations to them. If there's any of them I want to see go up, it is Luton. But yeah, and of course the player awards as well was also held at the end of the match. Something that's always very nice to see, who wins what. And I will now show you who won what. Actually, I was going to leave this out, but I can't. And at the end of the day, this is something that deserves to be noted and all that stuff. So let's take a look, shall we? So the PFA Community Champion was Diaby. This was seen a mile away by everyone because he's been doing some fantastic work around the local community for like Ramadan and stuff like that. So hats off to Diaby. He does really well in the community. The Community Player of the Year, so obviously that's voted from the community, was Cunningham for his inspiring work. Of course, he does a lot of things with children. He's getting his coaching badges, as far as I'm aware, and he does other stuff in the local area. So yep, that's deserved. Scholar of the Year, of course, who else could it be? Let's be honest. The child of a club legend, Norma Wenny. Congratulations. Goal of the season, there's no competition, let's be honest. If you said the Blackpool goal, you're biased. This was his best goal this season, easily. It's our best goal. Young Player of the Year, who else could it be? Alvaro. Yeah, fully deserves that. The Player of the Year voted by the players was Evans, which again I think is deserved. From what he's done this season, being an inspiration and all that stuff. Hopefully he does get better next season. He said in his little interview at the end of the game that he wants to come back stronger, so yeah. And the Sir Tom Finney Player of the Year, which is the official Player of the Year, Freddie Woodman. I called it a mile away. But anyways, I've just got a notification that Peony have tweeted, so let's have a look. It makes me happy and proud. We spoke to Freddie Woodman after he was... Oh, look at that, good timing. So that's just him saying that, yeah, he's proud of what he's done. And Diaby as well saying that he's proud of the team and that he would have liked to play the final games. But oh well, it is what it is. Right, that's enough rambling. I'm going to let you all go now. I've been here long enough. So pros show is that we show moments of quality, and the cons is we had an overall poor display. It's a sour way to end the season, and there's no clarity on players just yet. So it is concerning times at the minute, but until things get cleared up, I'm sure things could go a bit more positively, but I'm not going to make any calls because I do not want to jinx anything. So thank you all for listening in, thank you all for watching, of course. Thanks for the support this season, it's been incredible. Hopefully we're going to come back next season and do even better. in terms of Preston and the channel. So, like I say, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. It helps more than you know. It really does. And everyone's engagement on Twitter, follow me if you don't already, link in the description and all that stuff. It's fantastic. We've built a fantastic community this season, and I've loved every minute of it, and hopefully we can keep growing and growing and growing. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for this season, and I will see you all in the pre-season.